to look at the sisterhood as it pertains to economics and kind of tie it into, first and foremost, I made my shift to flip quicker. I want to give you an overview briefly on how I came into the Institute. 8 years ago, I had organized a sisterhood group here in Atlanta, Wanawakawa, Africa. And our purpose at that particular time was to bring the sisters in the community together with like and similar minds, to actually organize ourselves around support systems and our leveraging our voice at that particular time to create other dynamics, using our economics to build schools and to create other support systems in the community that we saw that were missing. And during that time, Dr. NKosi had got word that a grassroots sisterhood organization had sprung up in Atlanta and traveled to Atlanta to meet with us, from Memphis to meet with us. My person in particular, to share with me at that time this extraordinary breakthrough that he had, that's a major component of his research, which is sisterhood is the key. Of course, you know, sisters at that time, and those of us that had organized the organization, had already come to that conclusion. We had already recognized ourselves as being this force. So, unfortunately, at that time, I could not hear Dr. NKosi, and I must admit, felt that it was a little bit out of his place to come into a sisterhood setting and tell us sisters what we need to be doing, right? So, you know, and then, to be honest, you know, many of the other sisters kind of, you know, felt that way at the time. So we really had a low volume for hearing a brother come into the circle and just call himself cleaning us up. So, unfortunately, I did not make the trip that time. Fortunately, about 8 years later, I bumped into Dr. Kayah. At that time, the Institute was working up here on campus with the School of Education, and they were working on an educational initiative that in particularly interested me because I was in education at the time. I was an administrator of an independent school at that time. So that kind of drew me in, you know, the big carrot that said, okay, let me see how all of this stuff really ties in. And it's almost like the more you know you don't know. So, you know, the longer you stay to really get it. And that transpired a little less than 2 years ago. And I have been working with the Institute ever since then. The concept of sisterhood obviously has not only expanded, but it's also got taken on a whole many more dimensions than I had at that particular time when we had our sisterhood organization. And one of the dimensions that has been increasingly growing every day even is the whole dimension of how we must leverage this voice, how we must create this voice and then leverage this voice for the kind of economic stability and economic power that we absolutely do have, given the fact that this is missing right now. So in understanding what the research is and how it comes into play, greetings brother, glad to see you back, how the research comes into play, you have a whole nother dimension of organizing sisters.